suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Hellraiser Revelations, which is the 9th movie in the Hellraiser franchise. It opens up with two friends, Nico and Steven, who travel across to Tijuana, and they're filming their trip, so it's almost like a found footage style film at the start of the movie. And through their travels, they have a lot of laughs, they have a lot of drinks, and it also shows one of them opening up the puzzle box. After one of them open up the puzzle box, Pinhead appears on screen as well, and then it cuts. Now this scene itself just felt like a complete and utter shambles of a fan film, and Pinhead is absolutely laughable here. It then cuts to Steven's family talking about their disappearance. It doesn't say specifically how long it's been, but it's not been that long. And Steven's sister, Emma, decides that she's going to go into Steven's room and have a look around. I don't know why it took her so long to do that, but she did it there anyway. And she finds the videotape that we've watched. And as she's watching it, we also find out that she's the girlfriend of Steven's friend Nico. And we see Nico cheating on Emma in the video. Emma then finds the puzzle box as well, randomly. And after she touches it, immediately or almost immediately, Steven appears. It does cut from time to time to the videotape footage and to today, and we see the homeless guy's back from the previous Hellraiser movie, and I'm assuming it's the same guy or supposed to be the same guy, and he's the ones that talks about the puzzle box. After Nico solves the puzzle and he's taken to hell by Pinhead and the Cenobites, Steven then hears Nico saying, "You need to kill for me." He finds that out so fast. So then Steven decides, okay, I'm going to do that. So he kills one person and that brings Nico back. But then Nico says, "I need you to kill more people for me." Just like Frank from the original Hellraiser movie. Steven's mind goes back and forward to the Cenobites, and he's stuck in his own little world now and again. And he even goes to speak to his sister Emma, and then he decides to start seducing her. Now at this point I thought, oh, that's a bit strange, but we find out why he does that later on, which I'll tell you about. But yeah, at this point in the movie, I'm like, what the heck is happening? It then cuts back to Steven choosing another victim, and then he goes back to her house, but he finds out that she's got a baby, and then he kind of snaps out of it and says, "Nah, I'm not doing this." So Nico then decides that he's going to do it. I don't know why Nico didn't do it anyway and asks Steven to do it, but Nico then does it, and I think he does kill the baby as well. We then find out in the most ridiculous fashion that Steven isn't actually Steven, it's Nico underneath the skin, because we find out that Nico does take Steven's skin, and Nico with Steven's skin explains it to the family that I'm not Steven, I'm Nico, and they're all sitting there believing him. There's nothing for them to believe him about. There's nothing he can do to prove that he is Steven unless he rips his skin off and says, "Look at me." But they all sit back and go, "Oh, right, okay." If somebody told me, "Oh, I'm not John, I'm Jane," I'd be like, haha, very funny. But they're all like, "Oh my god, you're not Steven, I believe you." And I'm like, what the heck? They then tried to give this story depth. They confirmed that Steven was living in a dysfunctional family. Steven's dad was sleeping with Nico's mother. And this is why there's a kind of brawl, or what? This is why Nico takes it out on them, because he finds out, or he already knew, that his own mum was sleeping with his best friend's dad. Steven's dad kills Nico so that the Cenobites couldn't take him. If he just let the Cenobites take Nico, then he would feel eternity of pain. But instead, the Cenobites are like, "Oh, you've just taken Nico from us. What we'll do is we're going to take your wife now." So Steven's mother was taken instead. So Steven's dad's an absolute idiot. After that, in short and sweet, the movie just ends. Oh, where do I begin, guys? You know, this movie felt like the ultimate worst fan film. And I know that some fan films are really good, but if you put this in between fan films, you would think this was the worst one out of them all. Now, you have to remember, this is a Dimension film. This was made by a proper studio. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't even know what the budget was. I'm hoping it was nothing over $100, because I could do better with zero budget. That's how bad this film was. After they completed this film, I can't believe that they tested this and it passed inspection. Pinhead, the Cenobites, everything about this film was absolutely dreadful. I thought the movies before this were bad, and I was saying this is one of the worst films ever, and this is one of the worst films ever. No, those movies are absolute masterpieces compared to this absolutely terrible film. This is one of the worst, if not, now I'm not going to say it's the worst because no film can be the worst, but if somebody said to me what's the worst film ever, and I had to say a film off the top of my head, this movie is it. This is, and let's just say it, this is the worst film ever made. The only redeeming factor about this is it is the first movie in the franchise since Hellraiser Bloodline that was actually written as a Hellraiser movie. So it had that going for it, even though it was still terrible. The movies before that, parts 5, 6, 7 and 8, weren't written as Hellraiser movies. So this was the first one since Bloodline that they attempted to give us a Hellraiser movie. And also, even with all the negatives, they still managed to give us some decent practical effects. I can only imagine that any money they had, none of it went to anything else bar the practical effects. Everything else, shambles. So that's my review of Hellraiser Revelations. I will never ever watch that movie again. It was an absolute abomination. But what do you think, guys? Have you seen the movie? Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.